What kind of a legacy would you leave if you had 6 weeks to live? Let's think about it. 42 days, 1,008 hours. Most people think about legacy and they think about years and decades worth of work. They'll think about money that you can leave behind for your children or your grandchildren. They think about something that an old person would leave, right? I'd like to introduce you to the most incredible leader that I have ever encountered in my life. The most transformative, impactful, and challenging leader I've ever come across. Now, look, this person doesn't have an MBA. They've got zero experience, and their communication style, I'd say it's tricky at best and it's intense. I'm talking about a newborn baby, inspiring change without a single word. So, when my husband and I got married, we decided we'd curate our lives in a certain way. And in the middle of curating our fairy tale, after a series of fortunate and unfortunate events, I gave birth prematurely to a boisterous little girl. We named her Camagu. Camagu was born prematurely, but this little girl came out, and I gave birth naturally. She came out bum first. Now you can imagine the labor room erupted in laughter and applause because what do you mean you came out twerking? This tiny, premature person taught me more about fearless leadership than any of my boardroom experiences that I have under my belt. Though our little person only lived for 6 weeks, her entrance was a powerful declaration that says, I am here. Take note. I will not be forgotten. Living with intention, the power of intentionality. Now, as a leader, you cannot be passive. You cannot wait to be invited. You must be intentional about the energy that you bring into a room, right? So, what does your first hello look like? Everyone in that labor room will always remember the little girl that came out twerking. As a leader, you're here and you've got the chance and the opportunity. And I hope you have the discernment to decide how you enter a space, which spaces are deserving of your energy, and what that energy looks like. Now, any newborn creates a profound and long lasting legacy in just 6 weeks because it's life altering for at least 2 people in the world. This is a powerful form of leadership, inspiring change without a single word. When you think about intentionality, you also have to consider the power of now, the power of being present, the power of the here and now. Camagu being a premature baby, there were certain things that we had to do to preserve energy. And as her doctors explained, because she's premature, and in the 6 weeks on Earth, she had suffered 2 brain bleeds, which were strokes. We had to be particular on days when we were allowed to hold her, and we had to be particular with the different things that we had to do, like change her nappies and when we could change her nappies, because it would take longer for her to replenish her energy. So, together with intentionality and the power of presence and the power of now, it meant that when we did get a chance to hold her, we had to be fully present. We had to be there. So now, as a leader, how often are you in spaces where you are physically present, but mentally, emotionally, you're elsewhere? You're on your phone. You're thinking about an assignment that you need to do. Legacy is shared through vulnerability and through the connection of vulnerability. The first 6 weeks of any newborn's life requires a great deal of vulnerability. It really brings alive the saying that says you have to put someone else above your own needs. Transactional leadership focuses on results and measurable metrics. Transformational leadership is built in the trenches of difficulty, in the trenches of change, and it requires depth and trust that metrics often cannot measure. Brené Brown says that vulnerability is about having the courage to show up and be seen, even though you may not know what the outcome will be. Now, there is grief in leadership, and leadership contains grief, right? But the passing of our daughter, as much as it caused a great deal of pain and grief, in order for us to continue living, it required us accepting the duality of life. So Charles Dickens in A Tale of Two Cities speaks to duality. He says it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom, it was the age of foolishness. We had nothing before us, we had everything before us. Anything new involves loss and it involves change. Acceptance as a leader is important. As a leader, acknowledgement of duality is important. Now, we're often taught that leading with armor is what is important and it's what makes great leaders. But fear is real. Imposter syndrome is real. Fear of loss, loss of control, loss of how things used to be, grief of a past identity, of yourself, of a people, of an institution. Fear makes us resist necessary endings. Andrew Solomon speaks about the importance of forging meaning. It doesn't fall out of the sky. You have to find a way to find purpose in the duality that you're living in and that you're leading in. So, learning to live with the grief of losing Camagu meant that we forged meaning in her life, not her death. Purpose is not something that you find after the crisis. It is something that you build during the crisis. In the middle of the worst of times, as a leader, you have to find the best of times and cultivate that seed. The map for leading through transition is definitely not a straight line from bad to good. You can have everything and you can have nothing all at the same time. It's a paradox. So the next time you face your worst of times, I urge you to not search for a silver lining. Instead, sit in it and embrace the duality. Acknowledge the grief, and in that same moment, ask yourself, what purpose can I build from this? That is how you unmap the known and you map the unknown and lead with true resilient hope. Don't look for a new destination. Look at how you take the very next step. Because when you look for a destination, you start thinking that legacy is decades worth of work. Meanwhile, it starts with the very next step. Enter your next challenge bum first and make sure that you're in a room that deserves your energy. That is the beginning of fearless leadership. We're all born with these great leadership instincts to be vulnerable, to be present, and to connect. We are born knowing that growth requires us to let go. You grow as a child, your feet get bigger, and you let go of your old shoes. And that applies to every single part of our lives. So for the next 6 weeks, I challenge you to be more like a newborn. Acknowledge one necessary loss, be fully present in one conversation a day, and build one relationship based on vulnerability. You don't need a lifetime to leave a legacy. Sometimes the most profound impact that you can have is in the next 6 weeks. By leading with the fearless authenticity that you were born with. It's in here. An authenticity that has the courage to say hello to something new and bravely say goodbye to what was. Thank you.